guys. I'm here to read another chapter from Matilda, the second miracle. When we left off, Matilda had used some sort of power to tilt the glass of water with a newt in it, and so now she's kind of trying to figure out what the heck happened. So we're going to read the next chapter called The Second Miracle. Here we go. Matilda did not join the rush to get out of the classroom. After the other children had all disappeared, she remained at her desk, quiet and thoughtful. She knew she had to tell somebody about what had happened with the glass. She couldn't possibly keep a gigantic secret like that bottled up inside her. What she needed was just one person, one wise and sympathetic grown-up who could help her understand the meaning of the extraordinarily happening. Neither her mother nor her father would be of any use at all. Excuse me. If they believed her story, and it was doubtful they would, they almost certainly would fail to realize that astounding event it was that had taken place in the classroom that afternoon. On the spur of the moment, Matilda decided that one person she would like to confide in was Miss Honey. Matilda and Miss Honey were now the only two left in the classroom. Miss Honey had seated herself at the table and was rifling through some papers. She looked up and said, "Well, Matilda, aren't you going outside with the others?" Matilda said, "Please, may I talk to you for a moment?" "Of course you may. What's troubling you?" "Something peculiar has happened to me, Miss Honey." Miss Honey became instantly alert. Ever since the two disastrous meetings she had recently about Matilda, the first with the headmistress and the second with the dreadful Mr. and Mrs. Wormwood, Miss Honey had been thinking a great deal about this child and wondering how she could help her. And now here was Matilda sitting in the classroom with curiously elated look on her face and asking if she could have a private talk. Miss Honey had never seen her looking so wide-eyed and particular before. "Yes, Matilda," she said, "tell me what was happening to you that is so peculiar." "Miss Trunchbull isn't going to expel me, is she?" Matilda asked, "because it wasn't me who had put a creature in her jug of water. I promise you it wasn't." "I know it wasn't," Miss Honey said. "Am I going to be expelled?" "I think not," Miss Honey said. The headmistress simply got a little overexcited, that's all. "Good," Matilda said, "but that isn't what I want to talk to you about." "What do you want to talk to me about, Matilda?" "I want to talk to you about the glass of water with the creature in it," Matilda said. "You saw it spilling all over Miss Trunchbull, didn't you?" "I did indeed." "Well, Miss Honey, I didn't touch it. I never went near it." "I know you didn't," Miss Honey said. "You heard me tell the headmistress that I couldn't possibly have been you." "Ah, but it was me, Miss Honey," Matilda said. "That's exactly what I want to talk to you about." Miss Honey paused, looked carefully at the child. "I don't think I quite follow you," she said. "I got so angry at being accused of something I hadn't done that I made it happen." "You made what happen, Matilda?" "I made the glass tip over." "I still don't quite understand what you mean," Miss Honey said gently. "I did it with my eyes," Matilda said. "I was staring at it and wishing that it would tip, and then my eyes went all hot and funny, and some sort of power came out of them, and the glass just toppled over." Miss Honey continued to look steadily at Matilda through her steel-rimmed spectacles, and Matilda looked back at her just as steadily. "I'm still not following you," Miss Honey said. "Do you mean you actually willed a glass to tip over?" "Yes," Matilda said. "With my eyes." Miss Honey was silent for a moment. She did not think Matilda was meaning to tell a lie. It was more likely that she was simply allowing her vivid imagination to run away with her. "You mean you're sitting where you are now, and you told the glass to topple over, and it did?" "Something like that, Miss Honey, yes." "If you did that, then it was just about the greatest miracle a person has ever performed since the time of Jesus." "I didn't, Miss Honey. It was extraordinary thought, Miss Honey. How often small children have flights of fantasy like this." She decided to put the end to this gently as possible. "Could you do it again?" she asked, not unkindly. "I don't know," Matilda said, "but I think I might be able to." Miss Honey moved to the now empty glass at the middle of the table. "Should I put water in it?" she asked, smiling a little. "I don't think it matters," Matilda said. Very well, then. Go ahead and tip it over. It may take some time. Take all the time you want, Miss Honey said. I'm in no hurry. So here's a picture of Miss... Matilda, sitting in the second row about 10 feet away from Miss Honey, put her elbows on the desk and cupped her face in her hands. This time she gave the order right at the beginning. Tip, glass, tip, she ordered. But her lips didn't move and she made no sound. She simply shouted the words inside her head, and now she concentrated the whole of her mind and her brain and blew up into her eyes, and once again, but not much more quickly than before she left, the electricity gathering and the power was beginning to surge, and honest hotness was coming into her eyeballs, and then millions of tiny invisible arms and hands on them were shooting out towards the glass, and without making any sound at all, she kept on shouting inside her head for the glass to go over. She saw it wobble, then it tilted, then it toppled right over and fell in a tinkle at the tabletop, not 12 inches from Miss Honey's folded arms. Miss Honey's mouth dropped open, her eyes stretched her so wide you could see the whites of all round. You didn't say a word. She couldn't. The shock of seeing a miracle perform in this struck her dumb. She gaped at the glass, leaning well away from it now, as though it might be a dangerous thing. Then slowly she lifted her head and looked at Matilda. She saw the child, white in the face, as white as paper, trembling all over, her eyes glazed, staring straight ahead, seeing nothing. The whole face was transfigured, her eyes round and bright. She was sitting there, speechless, quiet, beautiful, in a blaze of silence. Miss Honey waited, trembling a little herself, and watching the child as she slowly stirred herself back into consciousness. And then suddenly a click went into her face, and the look of almost seraphic calm. I'm all right, she said with a smile. I am quite all right, Miss Honey, so don't be alarmed. So there's a picture of Matilda trying to trip the glass over, and there's the picture of the glass being toppled over in front of Miss Honey. Excuse me. You seem so far away, Miss Honey, whispered, awestruck. Oh, I was flying past the stars on silver wings, Matilda. It was wonderful. Miss Honey was still gazing at the child, absolutely wonderment, and thought, she were the creation, the beginning of the world, and the first morning. I want much quicker this time, Matilda said quietly. It's not possible, Miss Honey said, gasping. I don't believe it. I simply don't believe it. She closed her eyes, kept them closed for quite a while. Then she opened them again. It seemed as though she had gathered herself together. Would you like to come back to have tea in my cottage, she asked. Oh, I'd love to, Matilda said. Good. Gather up your things. I'll meet you outside in a couple of minutes. You won't tell anyone about this thing. Tell that I did. Will you, Miss Honey? I wouldn't dream of it, Miss Honey said. And that's the end of the chapter, the second miracle. Tomorrow we'll read Miss Honey's Cottage. So, I hope you're all having a good day. Again, I miss you. I hope you're staying safe. Look out for more videos tomorrow.